Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. This is Linda. As promised, I said I would do the Forever Florals as my video this week. A few of you have already bought it. We had a chance to order it early, customers and demonstrators, if you did something called the virtual card retreat that Stampin' Up! Offered. And actually it's still available, but about 8 of us got together and we made the 20 cards, and it was like an all-day thing, and there were videos, and it was heavy into techniques. It was expensive. It was $165 for the virtual class, but actually it was pretty cool how they did it. So it came with the Forever Florals stamp and die set, which is available now just by itself. And then it also came with a special stamp set that was only for the event, and like designer paper, pattern papers, all of this. There were gems, there was all kinds of stuff in there. But one thing they did that was kind of interesting is if you turn the designer paper over, and I don't even know if you can see this, but it has like numbers and little stitching where you cut. So project number 15 is this designer paper here, and it gave you where to cut, which I thought was really very clever. Like I said, it was a little, a lot of them were very intricate. They were not easy, most of them, but I did learn quite a bit, and I probably will do it again. They offer other retreats, online retreats like that, and it's, like I said, demonstrators and customers can do it. And I felt like it was a really good value after I attended it. So some of the samples that I have here, I made at the retreat, like this one here, using that special stamp set. Now this one uses the dies that I'm going to show you, and this is a different version that I did, where I put it long ways, kind of like we used to do with the tag punches. This is just using a die, to lay the paper down and then just cut out the shapes. This was another one that I did that all these papers here were included in there, and then you just cut out your little flowers and stuck them in. This die right here, which was part of this bundle, I did it this way, where I just put some green behind it to kind of help it pop up a little bit. But let me show you this bundle, and then I'll show you a fun layout. This is one of those bundles that you can get away with getting just the dies. If you already have these sentiments or something like it, the thinking of you always and forever, you're on my mind and in my heart. And then there's a few little things in here, but to me, the dies are really the star of the show. So there's this big one right here. When you put this on a card, it is an open edge, so you can float it anywhere you want. So for instance, if I cut this right here and centered it in there, it would just cut this window out and this out, which is kind of cool. So for instance, like that is so pretty. And you can just trim it down and just make a really great layer. Or if you cut it at 4 inches by 5 1/4, your white paper, before you put the die on it, it'll layer it in there perfectly. So it's just so pretty. So there's that big die, and then there's this big flower, which we're going to use today. And then there's these little guys and some leaves. And these are the ones that you'll miss if you don't have the stamp set, because they cut out, if you want to stamp these and cut them out, that's the part that if you don't get the stamp set, you'll just miss those. But really, I think all of these are great. And then these I love. These two layer, and there's a little bit of stitching all around the edges of them, and this long one here. So they're good size. You can see, if I hold it up like this, I think you can see the little indentation all the way around it. So in this case, you're on my mind and in my heart. I was able to put that on this whole thing, which I really like how that came out. I got lucky first time. Came out perfect. This is one of my favorite layouts. I use it often. I use it this way. I use it this way. When I need quick cards, it really, really helps. So if you start with, if your designer paper, I'm going to use the same designer paper on this card. If you start with 4 inches by 5 inches, 4 inches by 5 inches, and then turn it, you're going to cut off at 1 inch, And I kind of, on this one, I like keeping them in order because I like the way that the designs are going to match up. So there's my 1 inch, and then 2 3/4. And then what you're left with is 1 1/4. Now, if you want to, you can certainly cut up different styles, you know, and match them together. I'll show you some examples afterwards with different papers. But this is what we're working with right here. This paper is so gorgeous. This is that new Delicate Dreams. And I think it's already sold out temporarily, but it's coming back. It's so pretty. And there's a new color in there, Hydrangea, that's coming out very soon in the next few months, a new ink color. So yes, you know, depending on what's on the other side, obviously, you can switch these around. And you've got lots of choices, especially when your designer paper has so many colors in it. You've got lots of different options. I'm gonna do a white card, and if you have different options, you can put little strips in between. So of course you could even stick it on a card, like a dark card, like a Mossy Meadow would be pretty, or the Secret Sea, and carefully lay them on there. I find I get a little askew, so I like to put something behind it. But for instance, you could slide a little piece and glue these behind it, right? And then you wouldn't have to waste paper. But again, I have a hard time getting everything lined up perfectly. So what I end up doing is gluing down a piece of cardstock. Now, you know, we have that paper, the two-tone paper, which is lighter, and it comes in all of our colors. It's not as thin as designer paper, but it's close, and so it's a great layering paper. But this is just regular cardstock, same size, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. We cut the paper from 4 by 5, but that's going to leave just enough to have those layers in between. Now see how these kind of all match? I like that. Now I have something that I can line up on the bottom and then line up on the top and cover it up completely. I need new bifocals. You know, every year I feel like it gets worse. There we go. Okay, and then this one will go right in the middle. And see, it just lines up better when you've got something underneath it. Line up your edges. Now, ideally, you might want to do that before you put it on the card, because what if you have to shave it off just a little bit? What if your 4 inches is just a wee bit off? Then, you know, but look at that paper. Oh, so pretty. Okay, now the next thing, I'm gonna use this piece here. I cut it out from the die, and I'm gonna cut it in half. So that's another benefit, is you really only have to, you only have to die cut it once. We're gonna stick it there and here. And then you can add your big piece of whatever on top for the sentiment. But I thought, maybe I'm gonna try it this way on this one and use a smaller greeting. And so I cut this size die. This paper has crumb cake in it, so I thought, what would it look like if I did the crumb cake here? And it looks pretty good. And then the color that I rarely use is the gray granite. And that's in there too. It's all, like, look at that, right up in here. And I like it because it's cool as versus the warm. I think you could go either way. I could also do khaki on the bottom, like that. But let's try this. And actually, make sure the card opens the right way. I'm gonna put this here and here, and get it lined up to where I'm gonna cover my seam, okay? Just gonna use my dimensional sheet to hold that down. And you could add ribbon or anything else, but that's it right there. And then of course, there's the new little guys like this. I'm gonna show you some other samples with this layout. Let's see, what color should we do? Should I do these? Should I do the white? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm gonna do the white, I think. These are flat. Can you see? Look. So they're they got a little bump to them, but actually they're less than, you know, many of them. They're flat, flatter. All right. So just another option with this layout. It's just been one of my go-tos when I need fast cards. This one, wedding or anniversary. So using that largest die, using this largest one right here, the always and forever will fit. Now, one thing I noticed when I did this, the first time I embossed it, it was a little bumpy, a little sketchy there. And then I re-inked my Versamark pad and it came out perfect. So sometimes if your embossing doesn't come out perfectly, re-ink your pad, because that's what did it. And then it was just perfectly smooth and glossy and really pretty. Here's the one that I did from the class with that designer paper. And then this one right here, I layered those two sizes together with coral and the vanilla. Put some gold little leaves in there. And this one I used the back side. I think that's the back of that one. Yep. I used the back side so it's striped, floral stripe, like Waverly fabric. So I'll post all these and the recipes for them for you in a PDF underneath the video and in the description. So give it a try. Really, it's a lot of fun. Easy to do. And you can start using up your designer paper that you have on hand. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.